Yeah. I got video. I got a quick video that I'm gonna upload. Probably later on tonight. Child, the tornado hit down while we was in. We had to close the container doors,
Oh my
all the
God.
glass doors, like batten down the hatches type of situation. I was hyped though. I was
But
hyped.
listen, imagine if you weren't in a container. I'm just saying, you may not be here to tell your story.
And this is what I'm telling my sister. I was like, yo, we are safer than anybody else. It was
Yeah.
so crazy. And because we saw all the storm and everything going crazy outside, and the wall ain't shake, a window ain't shake, nothing.
Winning in these streets, girl. That's the life. That's the container life.
So I'm like, should our slogan be, if it's not a container, you ain't about that life? No.
That's real. We gonna make that into a meme. If
For real.
you ain't about a container, you ain't about that life.
If it ain't a container, you ain't about that life. Cause I was like, what if we wasn't in this? If we was like in some look, cause we stayed in a little cottage in New Orleans. It was a
Hmm.
little rinky dink. And I was like, imagine if we would have been there
Yeah. How
versus
about that?
being in the container. But then I just got mad hype because we talk about it all the
Yeah.
time. Like we always like, it's wind and water tight. It's
Yeah.
always wind and water tight. And I'm like, I experienced it firsthand and sat in the middle of this tornado and watched everything from the inside, and literally nothing, like the container didn't move, didn't shake, didn't, the windows didn't shake, nothing.
Yes, you were at your safest point. And that was God's grace because I feel like if you're not about that container life, it's definitely a mindset thing. I hate poetic construction. Can't wait to get my container home. That's right, girl or boy. Are you male or female? Sisters, are you a sister too or a brother?
Right? There's
Um,
no way to know.
well, I'm glad that you're safe. You're able to talk about it right now because tonight, Mojo has a great, great topic, and we're just going to go through it so that you guys begin. What I can say is that the way that our weather is set up, guys, we don't never know what's going to happen. And if you're in this mindset of I'm going to wait till later or whatever mindset you may have where you're procrastinating to get into this container life, unfortunately, it may be too late for you or somebody in your family. So tonight we're going to talk about the 6 steps on how to get your container project going. Y'all know I'm always saying, don't pay me no mind. So
6 steps to how to get your container project going. The 6 steps from beginning to end. So y'all know that we cut our shows down to 30-minute shows. So this
uh,
might
we,
turn into,
but we late right now, so we might as well act like we started right now.
right. True. But it might go longer than 30 minutes
Yeah,
because between going through the steps, answering questions and all that, it might go
yeah,
over 30 minutes. And if so, it'll just be a part 2 next week for us
yeah.
to finish. That means you got to come back
That's right.
um, for us to do the additional steps. But I'm excited about that because people always ask, like, what do I need to do? Where do I start? Um, web, I don't own any of the containers that I've built because they've all been like either Airbnb projects or projects of other owners. But I'm working on my own joint, and Jess, she building a fort. We already established that. We already established that Jess' house is where it's at when the zombie apocalypse happened. And I don't know if all of y'all are invited, but I know that's where I'm gonna be.
Mojo will be in the house. That's right. But I'll definitely have an open house when the house is finished, so that all of our container life people can come, touch, feel, and see, and really experience this container life. We have so many great projects coming up for this year. I am ecstatic. So, all right. So I'll let you start off with step 1, and then we'll go back and forth. Okay?
I'm hoping my step 1 is just step 1.
We think alike. We'll be fine.
Step one is a consultation form on one of our websites.
Definitely. Step one is the consultation form, guys. As much as we want to give you, off the top of the head numbers and quotes and all that stuff, it's just not realistic because one, we don't know where your project's going to be. We don't know what kind of finishes you want. And honestly, we don't even know how much work we have to do. So it's easier said than done. I know sometimes y'all just want a quick answer, but there's no such thing. And if you've never built a home from the ground up, I know that sounds a little crazy to you, but it's actually normal. So even if you were in a stick-built home, they wouldn't be able to just give you a quote of a random house because most of the cost is dependent upon your finishes. So stay encouraged. Just fill out the form. Don't drive yourself crazy. Just
Right.
fill the form out.
It's
It ain't gonna
free. It's
be
free.
you. It's free on her site. It's $100 on my site because y'all be playing in y'all spirits sometime. I love my customers, but
Well,
y'all be
it's
coming to
free. It's
me.
free for them to do the form on my site, but the whole consultation where
Yeah,
they want to get on the phone with me and go through all the extra steps and the details and the questions. That's a consultation. That's not a consultation. The form in itself for me is quick. The what, when, where. That's all I want to know. What, when, where. Then I can send you a preliminary, keyword being preliminary, quote, just based on straight square footage, right? And then, because I try to tell people we can't give you exact numbers until we know exactly what we get with our architects and our engineers, and we know exactly what we're doing. If we're doing one container, if we're doing multiple containers, if they being stacked, then we got to get all the different engineers involved.
yeah,
It's no way that you can just say, okay, you want a container home, it's going to be this amount.
right.
So for me, the consultation form, it did. I think the biggest thing for me is the win,
Yeah,
because people contact me and say, Mojo, I want to build a container. Everybody contacts and says the same thing. Oh, I want to do containers in South Carolina. Oh, I want to do containers in Detroit. When? Well, I'm thinking November 2022. Whoa, 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 whoa. Then we don't need to talk till way later. Like,
yeah,
because we're not, all right, if you think about it like this, when you do what you do that, the pre-approval for a home, right? When
yeah,
they pull your credit for the pre-approval, that credit score and that pre-approval is good for like 4 months. So
yeah,
that's when you're supposed to do your everything that you got to do to get together the I want to build a house details. It's the same
yeah,
thing with us. We should be 3 to 6 months out
yeah.
of build time to say this is when we're going to start our consultation process, our development process, all of our discussions, and then we go from there. So a lot of and you know what's crazy? 5 out of 10 people leave the win blank. And I always write back, when you planning on building? Like, I
Yeah,
can't answer anything if I don't know. I can't just random, because a quote today, just like a pre-approval for a house for you today, may be one thing, and 4 months from now, it'll be totally different, especially with this rent and mortgage moratorium that's going on right now, and
yeah.
ain't nobody
Construction
paying no
phone.
rent, and people ain't paying mortgages, and then it's that bubble is gonna burst, and all house prices are gonna change. The square footage for your local area is probably gonna change. Everything is gonna change in that instant. So what's relevant now may not be relevant in September. So that's definitely step one, the consultation form, so we can know what you want to build, when you want to build it, and what we building it with. The coins, the scratch, the moolah, where we getting the money from.
That's right. And I would say step two is, do you have funding? So a lot of people don't realize, one, when you're coming to us for a consultation form, there's no way in the world you know how much your project is going to cost. So honestly speaking, many people that come to us are going to come without funding. some people have been pre-approved because prior to them, making their final decision to do a container home, they may have already went to their bank and they got pre-approval, which is great. So we know that you already have the funding. And to go a little bit further, I know a lot of people ask this question all the time: what kind of funding can you get for it? You can get any kind of funding. So USDA, FHA, VA, any kind of new construction loan. It's not as complicated as it used to be, probably even 3 years ago when I first started. So I would say that from a perspective of financing, you have plenty of options out there. Now, I can't say the same for like a credit union. I don't know of credit unions that are giving these type of loans because some customers ask me specifically about credit unions, but I don't know enough about the credit union world to give an answer to that. However, I do know as long as the bank has a new construction loan, most likely they'll give you a loan for this process. So keep hope alive. There's plenty of options out there. Use all your resources. If you're in the rural area, your best bet truly is a USDA loan. So I encourage you to rock out with that. I think that would be your best bet. If you're in the city, then you have all kinds of options. But the reason why I say USDA, because typically they have better terms and they definitely have better interest rates when it comes to rural areas, because that those loans are specifically for rural areas.
Yeah, I'm trying to move everybody out the city. That's about to be the USDA loan is about to be my focus for
Yeah.
new home construction and getting low income homes and stuff, like people with low credit and people with bad credit, and like
Yes.
how to get them into a home. That's about to be my focus because that loan has, like you said, different terms, different interest rates, different credit levels,
Yeah.
different everything, and nobody's taking that. Well, somebody's taking advantage of it, but we not. A lot of us are city folk, and um we not really keen on the idea of moving outside of the city.
Right.
But that's where the money is. And if you really want to build a container, that's where you that USDA 502 loan is serious. That's what we really gonna start. I'm gonna start focusing on getting people approved. I'm trying to get a network of realtors and mortgage originators and all of that together. Somebody from every state. So we have a go-to person for each state. So we could be like, all right, what's the rural area? Where can we look? Where can we start? Where can we build? And then we go from there.
Yep, I love it. I think that makes the most sense. What I find is a lot of people don't know how to have those conversations with their mortgage companies, and that's okay, no big deal. But I would say that if you need assistance, just reach out to Mojo or myself and let us help you, because that is a part of our process. We want to get you across the finish line. And so if it takes for us having to help you a little bit, we don't mind doing that once we have a contract signed by you.
Yeah, let's do business. I mean, that's why we're here. I always tell people, like, my mission is to empower Black women and other Black people. Black women are my focus, but I help everybody because men always come to me like, yo, sis, I'm saying, I know it's Black Box Queen.
Each year we help our sisters and our brothers out.
They call me. My kids call me every time I'm live. Every single time they call me. Um, but I help
Over.
everybody. But my mission is to empower Black people with home ownership and real estate investment opportunities using shipping containers. And wherever we can find the money, that's going to be my focus. And it's not the same focus as the standard mortgage originator and realtor who's just like, I'm trying to get the biggest house and the biggest commission. So where we looking? That's not my focus. My focus is for us to house and increase the home ownership numbers for us.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
and that USDA loan is it. That's it right there.
That's the win. Winning in these streets. What's number three, Mojo? Step number
Um
three.
percolation test and topography test.
Yes, yes. So, and we're going to sum it all up because we want y'all to go back to go forward. So, the percolation test and topography test is important because one, the percolation test let us know how water travels through your building, your land. And then the topography survey allows us to understand where is the best place on your land to actually build. So, people don't take that into consideration. So, I have conversations like, I already know where I want to put my house at. I'm like, well, can't put it there if you never got this topography survey done. And if you do put it there, if you never done a percolation test, you don't know if it's in the middle of swampland. So those are two main reasons why it's really important to do that percolation test and that topography, because if you don't know the proper place to put it on your land, it could be to your detriment. So it's just not worth it to try to skip. I have customers try to skip it all the time, even when they're in the city. And I'm like, so I had a customer recently that was in Atlanta, and every single piece of vacant land in that neighborhood was built on except the one they bought. And so they didn't do a percolation or topography survey. So I sent somebody there to help them with land clearing, and they started asking the land clearer about the percolation test. The land clearer specialty is land clearing, and you asking somebody whose specialty is not percolation or topography about that. And so
Right.
the guy tells them, oh, you don't need to do that. I'm familiar with this neighborhood. It's not necessary. So when the customer came back to me and says, well, Jessica, he told me I don't need it. I said, what did I send them there for? Land clearing. Okay. Then he needs to do his job, and you need to do what I ask you to do, because we're not moving forward with this project. And if you're not okay with following instructions, then maybe you should find another company to work with, because
Right.
we have operational practices and certain things that need to happen for a reason. We're not just telling you to do it to waste your money. Our engineers won't even touch a project if those two things haven't been done. So you can't do business with us if you're trying to take shortcuts. It is what it is, and I respect your decision on trying to save money, but you're going to lose money in the long run if you don't listen to us. So
Right.
he was Saudi. I checked the contractor as well. I told him to mind the business that pays him, and his focus should have been on land clearing, not giving customers advice outside of his purview of specialty. And he
Right.
apologized and told me I was right because one of his customers went through the same thing. And I'm like, okay, if your customer just went through the same thing, then why would you tell my customer? And this is why you got to be careful who you hire, because I thought I had a great relationship with this contractor. If anything, he would have said, well, Jessica is telling you to do that for a reason, but he didn't do that. And I asked him moving forward to do that because he was out of his purview. That's not what you were hired for. Let's stay focused
Right.
here. So that's another
Right.
side of Jessica. So y'all see me smiling and happy all the time, but don't mess with my money, and don't mess with my customers, and don't mess with how I do business. Because one thing I'll never do is lie to my customers. I wasn't getting paid off of. I don't even have a contract with this customer, so I was just trying to get them prepared to do business with us. So I didn't even gain from telling him to spend more money than he had to. But I know in the long run it can be really expensive. So needless to say, they both apologized,
Right.
and now moving and grooving again.
Right. Because I was looking at the same thing happened to me. I was looking at this property in Decatur, and all of the plots around the property got houses on it, and this one been on the market for 500 and something days. I'm like, what's going on? And then when I called the realtor, she was like, yeah, it's a flood area, and it has problems with this, and that, and da 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 da. And I was like, lady, you need
Yeah,
to just take that off the MLS altogether. Like, you need to figure out, find a private buyer, what they gonna do with that land. It's a reason why houses or land or most times it's a
yeah,
reason why land or houses or something. And she said it was something with the deed, and the family had it caught up in probate, and you got to get this deed and wait for this. And I was like, this is why it's been on the market for over a year at this price, and
yeah.
nobody has bought it because it has issues. That's why you got to do your due diligence. Don't be afraid to ask questions no matter what the question is. Yo, Mojo, that's why this lady said, this property is such and such, is $5,000. Why?
Yeah.
Where is it? In the middle of where? Ask her why. What's going on? What's the reason? What you got to do special?
Yeah.
What problems does it have? Don't be afraid to ask those questions, because
Yeah.
it's some realtors that just want to get the dollar.
Yeah.
So they ain't gonna tell you all the details, and hopefully you want. That's why I'm trying to put a network of realtors for us to deal with, that we deal with regularly, so that we know we could trust this relationship. They know we work with containers, so they know if this is swampland or it can't take the container weight, you need to let us know that so we can move on and look for something else.
But really, if I can be frank, honestly, as a customer, if you're not doing title searches and doing that whole process, like as if you're buying a house, you're doing yourself a detriment. Like I would never buy land. I still get title searches done. I, as a real estate investor, have a real estate attorney. Like I don't want to get burnt. You know, you can get burnt with land just like you get burnt with a house. So I
Right.
wouldn't, again, skip steps trying to rush and do a project. It's just not worth it. And so with that being said, do your due diligence. So you can't blame a realtor, even though it is that realtor's job and it is the owner's job to disclose things. How would you know if they was lying to you unless you did a title search? And
That's
also,
like
you know what
that's
I'm
like
saying?
people on the sex offender list is
Yeah,
only the people that got caught.
yeah,
If they
that's
ain't
real.
never had a case, they ain't never had an issue that came up, they not on the list. But
Exactly,
they had that problem still. So
for
it's
sure.
the same type of situation.
Yep. Don't skip steps, guys. It's not even worth it. So remember, we said step one was do the consultation form. Step two is funding, but the only way you can really go for funding is if you actually understand what your project entails, as well as the preliminary cost. And then the third thing would be, of course, your percolation and your topography test or survey. So those two things are really important. Mojo, do you want to stop it there or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, we had about 5 or 6 minutes left. I don't
Okay.
what's the All right, can we do a
I didn't
teaser?
see any
What's
questions.
step 4?
Well, step four is actually from that perspective, you purchase your land. So you would think that purchasing the land happens before the percolation and topography survey, but it doesn't. That topography survey and that percolation test actually happens during your due diligence process when you're looking to purchase land.
Right.
So remember, right now it's the seller's market, weirdly enough, even with land. So I would say if you're looking to purchase land, get creative and don't just go by the MLS alone. Like I wouldn't even only focus on a realtor and looking at the MLS. If you riding around and getting in these streets,
Right.
just pull up on somebody and say, "Hey, is your land for sale?" Or look for signs that say "for sale by owner," or ask your friends and family to look out for you too. Like people want to see you win. So if you tell people, "Hey guys, listen, I'm looking to acquire land so that I can build a container project. If you see anything, can you snap a photo or whatever?" And my friends and family have been helping me that way. So that is step four. And we'll go deeper into that because I want to explain to you guys how to acquire land in a proper way and also know more than your realtor. So, like she mentioned before, to know when your realtor is getting over on you. Okay, guys? So, part two is next Monday at 9:30. And so, please tune in. We're going to go over step 4, 5, and 6. I didn't see any questions, but our homie that's always on the call, he said, "How was your trip?" You
Yeah,
missed.
it was great. Like I told everybody in the beginning, a tornado touched down while I was in the container, and I literally just closed the door, batten down the hatches, and rolled it out. And there was no shaking of the container, no shaking of the windows, no nothing. Everything went smoothly, and it was so dope because it just proves everything that we talk about every day. Like,
Yeah,
it's wind
for
and
sure.
water tight. People always ask those questions. What about hurricanes? What about tornadoes? What about this? What about that? And I think it's because people have the perception that it's not on a permanent foundation like a regular house.
Yeah.
I think they feel like they feel like it's like the container is just sitting on the ground and could blow away, even though it's tons of steel.
Yeah, for sure.
But sometimes people have that perception.
Poetic Construction says, how do you spell, I guess, percolation and topography? So percolation also has another name. It's a soil test. Sorry to
Right.
make it so complicated, but it's
But that's
P-E-R,
right. She spelled it right.
yeah, Percolation, and topography is Topography survey.
You know that always make me think of the song. It's time for the percolator. It's time
Oh,
for the percolator.
right. You actually can do both of them, right? Percolator and
Right.
topography. Time for, well, I guess I'm reaching with that one, but
Poetic Construction. You did get them right. You did get them right. That's what's up. Average cost is no real average because it depends on
yeah,
your area.
for
It
sure.
depends on where you are. It could be one price in Atlanta and a whole different price in Mississippi and a whole different price in New York. So you just gotta find a local. You just look up like percolation test or soil test Atlanta
Yep.
or soil test. Where was I? Starkville, Mississippi.
Yep.
And then because it's best to use somebody local because they know the area
Right.
and the land and all of that. And then you just go from there.
And then
That's
for the topography, it's called a geotechnical topography survey. Oh no, it's a geotechnical soil report, but there are also some companies that perform that topography survey. So if you look up geotech soil test or something like that, you probably be able to find somebody. I know that sounds technical. Just send us a message offline. We'll help you out.
right. Just send us a line, tell us where you at. And I usually I wind up Googling it just to see, like what's in the area and what people is out there and see if I can find some black people. That's always my mission.
Hard to find it though. There's
It's
people
very hard to find.
Yeah, man. Well, for one, I don't have COVID, just in case y'all was wondering about that call. That's my allergies. And two, I'm on vacation. So I'm sitting out on my balcony as we're having this call. So that's what when you hear the waves crashing in the background and everything else. So I'm glad y'all get to join me on my vacation time. We missed y'all last week too. I hope y'all tune in next week to get part 2 of our lovely session on the 6 steps to get to your container life home.
Because if
And
it ain't about a container, you ain't about that life.
that's right. That's real. And someone asked about funding. We did talk about that earlier. So, of course, the funding comes from any local bank that does new construction. And then outside of that, there are also resources on both of our sites. So visit shippingliving.com, visit blackboxqueens.com, and definitely send in a form if you want some consultations on your project. If you're a developer and you need a mentor, we have those services available as well. And then quite naturally, people come to us for different reasons. So you may just need us to consult on a project. You may need us to do a partial build or even a full build. Just use that consultation form and we'll happily take care of you guys, okay? So I hope y'all have a fantastic evening. And remember,
and on that note, this has been Container Life with Mojo and Jess. We'll see you next Monday. Same bad time, same bad channel. We love you like cook food. See y'all later. Peace.
Peace, guys.